know in the MLB, if you're hitting like 270 to like 300, 250, 300, you're probably an above average hitter. And Penn State has 6 guys hitting over 270. And just going through box scores, it seems like every game, if they're winning, they're putting up 7, 8, 9 runs.
We are on a trajectory now to really have an offensive powerhouse, and hopefully like the football program does.
We are in the best time for Penn State sports.
With more eyeballs, more exposure, more kids wanting to come play at Penn State, that widens the pool that you get to choose from. Welcome back to the On Deck Circle. Got a special guest today that's normally talking about Penn State football, and we are going to talk football, Noah, because I can't get on a podcast with someone that knows anything about Penn State football and not talk about it. But we're going to talk a lot about baseball. And before we started recording, we found out we have a lot of overlap in our baseball careers. But Noah, introduce yourself. Tell the people listening kind of who you are, what you do, and your connection to Penn State and Penn State baseball.
Yeah, so Noah Malone, I talk a lot about football, like you mentioned. I did graduate from Penn State. I did play baseball with a couple of guys that did end up going to play at Penn State. I don't know if you knew Eric Mock. He did play with. Yeah, I played with him, and played with your brother. I did play baseball at Xavier my freshman year, and then transferred into Penn State. I did not play, but I played baseball my whole life, travel baseball, whole 9 yards. So
awesome. Yeah. So you playing with my brother. My brother played with a bunch of guys that ended up being my teammates at Penn State. So you'd know them too. Like you said, Eric Mock, maybe Colin Hughes, maybe here's some other guys.
I don't think Colin was on our team the year that I played. I think the only guy I knew that from our team that ended up playing was Eric Mock, but there was a couple other guys. There's a kid right now that plays on Penn State from my hometown, although Cedar Cliff Redland, Cole Wagner. I knew him growing up. He was always at Go Wags, the facility that I did a lot of training at throughout my years in middle school and high school. And then I believe the other was Justin Williams, who went to Cumberland Valley. He played at Penn State as well. So I do know a couple guys that played at Penn State.
Yeah, awesome. Baseball is such a small world.
I know.
And here we are. I didn't even know before we got on this that we had this connection. So that's pretty awesome. So Penn State baseball, we are headed into the Big Ten tournament. Exciting time of the year. We'll get into that a little bit, but in terms of the recap of the season, they had a very exciting season. I think that's the best way to put it. Our offense is as good as it gets, really. We're in the top of the Big Ten slugging and all the power numbers, led the Big Ten in stolen bases. And then we dropped some games that I really feel like we should have won. So it's like that. It keeps your heart in it. It keeps you on they kept us on our toes all year. And now the rubber really meets the road in the playoffs, or in the postseason. But I mean, how much were you following the team, and kind of what, just from your years of being a Penn State guy, what's your observation of?
So I will say, I've just been kind of, whenever something pops up on Twitter or on Instagram, I'm like, oh, great. And I have been noticing a lot of wins out of this team this year, which is great. I know there hasn't really been many seasons like this in the past. I was looking it up, and the last time that Penn State baseball has had back-to-back winning seasons was 2011 and 2012. So it's been a while, but I mean, they did have a winning season in 2020, but that was like the COVID year. So don't really know if that counts. They played 15 games, but it's been a while since Penn State baseball has been good. And it seems like these past 2 years they've really been trending in the right direction, and it's exciting. Penn State sports in general are at a phenomenal place right now.
I mean, I thought that our baseball program when I was at Penn State, unfortunately we didn't play to the level we were capable of, but I thought when I was there, it was like the best time ever to be part of the athletic department. Because, I mean, we had volleyball national championship, which is just par for the course for them.
That's every year. Wrestling
par for the course. But football won the Big Ten championship. Our women's lacrosse team was like in the Final Four. Hockey was really good. Women's soccer won a national championship. But they've taken kept taking steps up levels year over year. And it's really fun to see Penn State, just the athletic department as a whole, like in conversation for one of the most attractive and top places in the country to go play really any sport. Me having a bias towards baseball, I'm particularly excited about the program because it's also become an incredibly attractive place to come play baseball.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you could have said that 5-10 years ago. And you can, and evidence to that is number one, the wins, of course.
Yeah, that helps.
Number two, the amount of hot dogs eaten on Dollar Dog Night.
Yeah, that's a great ad.
It absolutely is. But also the players that we have transferring in. So I'm sure you probably know the name Paxton Kling.
Yeah.
Because his name pops up in every box score, in every Twitter, tweet, whatever they call him now.
Yeah.
That there is. But So who are some of the guys on the team? I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but that you said some of the guys or who they are from where they grew up. But who are some of the guys that you kind of enjoy following?
I mean, it feels like Paxton Kling shows up every day in some type of graphic of him 2 hits doing something crazy every day is what it seems like. Some of the other names that continued to pop up for me too were Jack Porter and John Jakowski. Sorry if I messed his name up, but those few guys, it seems like they're having great seasons so far. And it's looking like it'll carry right into the Big Ten tournament, which is exactly what you want. So yeah, those are some of the guys. I mentioned earlier, Cole Wagner. He's a kid that grew up in my area. It looks like he's having a pretty good season too. I was just looking through just some of the stats in general, and I know in the MLB, if you're hitting like 270 to like 300, 250, 300, you're probably an above average hitter. And Penn State has 6 guys hitting over 270. And just going through box scores, it seems like every game, if they're winning, they're putting up 7, 8, 9 runs. And I know that baseball, just going to games, can be slow and not nearly as action-packed as basketball or football, but when you're going to games and your team's putting up 7, 8, 9 runs, it feels like you're more engaged, you're enjoying it more, and it gives you even more of a reason to go back. Like, everybody loves watching runs being scored.
Yeah, as a baseball junkie, like the 1-0 games are pretty awesome to me.
Yeah, they are.
But I think as a casual fan, it's not exciting. Like, you don't necessarily see the pitch sequences and the big plays that are made that just are kind of routine plays, but in big situations to keep runs off the board. I think to really get butts in seats and to keep people engaged in the program, scoring runs is a gigantic deal of that. And we are on a trajectory now to really have an offensive powerhouse, and hopefully like the football program does. But it's fun. I mean, I lost track of how many I should have gone through and counted, but how many 10-run games we've had. Like 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was like we're 15 10-run games.
Yeah, I have it pulled up right here. They had 2 against Purdue. They just had 1 against Rider a few weeks back. Minnesota, they had 15. They had 10. Bucknell, they had 14. Michigan, they put up 12. Like Michigan State, 11. Like, I mean, that's offensive firepower at its finest. And And this, on top of that, you're winning those games too, which if you're putting up 10 plus runs, I would hope that you're able to chalk up a W in the win column. And it looks like they've been doing that here pretty consistently.
Yeah, and to score that many runs, it's a top to bottom effort, 1 through 9. Because even if your top guys are swinging it really well, and then the bottom of the order isn't producing, you're not scoring that many runs. So to have 9 guys that are weapons in the offense is a huge deal. And one of the reasons why I'm really excited about the postseason here. Because you have a couple guys get hot. Hitting is contagious, as you know. And I feel like we're hitting the postseason here in stride, where we can go shock some teams. And based on the pool that we drew, I think it's very winnable. We have so how the Big Ten tournament is set up now is it's essentially a pool play round robin, and the winner of each pool moves on. There's 3 teams in each. We are the 9 seed, and we are playing Washington first, historic Pac-12 program, which is pretty cool. And then we follow that up playing USC, who we played at home this year. And I think we lost the series, but it was a really good series. I think 3 really good ball games. So it's hard to beat a team 3 times. They beat us twice. And I think we're due to get him back again. So, but yeah, just coming off a series win at Xavier. You said you played there, right?
Yep. Yeah, I was there for 2016. We did end up winning the Big East tournament, and we did play in a regional down at Vanderbilt.
Nice.
Yeah, it was us, Vanderbilt, UC Santa Barbara, and actually Washington. And the UC Santa Barbara, actually, hold on. It was a UC team. It was whoever. Shoot, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Pitcher for the Guardians, they're number 1. Shane Bieber. Shane Bieber pitched wherever he went to school. That's who we ended up playing.
So did we play against each other in college?
Penn State and Xavier did play each other.
It was one of the years. I thought it might have been 2017.
Yeah, I want to say it was. It would have been. It was after I was gone, but I do remember seeing Penn State on the schedule in the upcoming years. I think Penn State did end up winning those series, but yeah, I know that Xavier.
We did.
I haven't been following them as much this year, but.
You guys had a third baseman that I believe made it to the big leagues.
Yeah, there was a couple guys on our team that got drafted. Rylan Bannon was drafted by the Orioles. Zach Lowther was another guy. He was a left-handed pitcher, the best on the staff. He got drafted by the Orioles as well in like the 3rd round. He did make his MLB debut a few years ago, and now I believe he is playing in Japan. But either way, still playing, still getting paid to play, which is the reason you do it.
No doubt. So you grew up, went to Cedar Cliff out there in Central PA, but you grew up a Penn State fan?
Yeah, so had season tickets my whole life. My grandparents had season tickets. Mom and dad had season tickets, and then as I got to high school and was playing multiple sports, it just got to be too busy. You know, obviously you're going away every weekend, or I played high school football too, so like it's not really that easy to turn around the next day and go to State College on a Saturday morning with that type of traffic. So
yeah, it can be pretty bad. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Altoona right down the road, so I grew up going to a lot of games as well. But what would you say is your best Penn State football memory in terms of a game that you attended?
2016 when they beat Ohio State. We rushed the field, and I got to do it. Almost didn't make it out of the stadium, like out of the bleachers, because people started like falling back, and I was getting slightly crushed between the bleachers and everybody else. But everybody made it out alive. That season was awesome. Last time we beat Ohio State, so hoping this year's a little different.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I was at that game as well. I did not rush the field. I thought I was getting, I just wasn't feeling great. So me and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, who's probably listening to me as we speak, we ended up going back and watching the game at her college house and with a couple of my buddies. And I've never regretted something so much in my entire life.
Yeah, that's a rough one to not show up to. But
I think it was something like after halftime, we're like, if Ohio State scores, we're just going to watch the rest at the house. They scored, and we went back, and we're just watching all this unfold, and we're like, I can't believe what we just did.
It's all right. I have been there. I was at a Yankees-Phillies game a couple years ago, and we're driving home, and DJ LeMahieu ends up hitting a grand slam in the top of the ninth to tie it. To go to, it ended up going to extra innings. The Yankees lost, but hearing that on the radio was painful.
Yeah,
so.
No doubt. But who were some of your favorite Penn State football players throughout your childhood?
I loved Larry Johnson. He was one of the guys that I don't even remember how old I was at the time, but him. Tamba Ali was another guy that I really enjoyed watching as I was growing up. I really liked Chris Godwin too. He was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I feel like obviously you got to throw Saquon in there. I mean, how can you not love watching Saquon?
Yeah, you have to. For the Penn State football fans listening out there, there's a GIF that you can use of Tamba Ali sacking Troy Smith.
Yeah.
And causing a fumble. So if you have any Ohio State fans, you can just send them that GIF. I use it every fall.
I've got one Ohio State fan in my life, but I really don't have any ground to stand on. They've just been a little bit better every year, and I think it's going to change coming up, but until then, he still has the upper hand on me.
I feel the tide's turning. It just feels like Penn State football has so much momentum right now. Obviously, the way last season ended was as heart-wrenching as it can ever get. I didn't know that I could be so emotionally distraught because of a football game, but I was. I mean, I've been waiting. So. A little backstory on my start as a Penn State football fan. My dad played baseball at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. So no football program at Mercer. All of his buddies were Georgia fans. And him growing up in Altoona, PA, is a huge Penn State fan. And I want to say it was 84. Penn State played Georgia while my dad was in college with all his Georgia buddies in the national championship, and Penn State won.
Yeah.
And that was the last national championship we've won. I hear about that my entire life, and I've just been waiting for that year that we do it. And we've had the team, and we've come close so many times, none closer than last year. And I just thought it was it. I thought we were going to play Ohio State. They bested us earlier in the year, and we were going to get them this year. But didn't happen. But this year, I'm feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been. I don't think there's a better story that you could write than Penn State beating Ohio State to win a national championship.
Right.
The Notre Dame game was soul crushing. Seeing our corner fall down, and then the Drew Aller interception at the end of the game after we were pretty dominant, I would say, for a majority of that football game. And for it to end that way was painful. And I'm sure that a lot of the players felt the same way. And I think that that's what led to a lot of guys deciding to come back. There was a couple offensive linemen, couple defensive linemen, both running backs. Like, all of those guys could have gone to the NFL, could have entered the draft and gone on to have been relatively early picks and been on NFL teams. But I think that the way that the season ended last year and just how close those guys were to playing in a national championship was probably a really big reason as to why they all decided to come back.
Yeah, I feel like that's like what documentaries are made of,
Yeah.
like all these guys made the unselfish or selfless decision to come back to Penn State, which speaks to how amazing of a place it is, and just the culture that's being built there. And, it's for lack of a better word, just exciting to see that going on, because in today's landscape of college sports in general, that's not normal at all.
No.
And I guess for like long time, college sports fans or Penn State fans, like it's normal to have guys there for 4 years. It is not normal for that to happen anymore. So to have all these guys that their draft stock is super high. Their value in the portal and NIL marketplace is super high, and they made the decision to stay at Penn State.
I think the biggest thing is, like you mentioned, the culture. It feels like that is being transferred throughout all the other sports. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. Volleyball and wrestling have been at such a high standard in Penn State for the last however long, and obviously football is kind of right there, but it's beginning to feel like that all of the sports teams across campus are slowly starting to get to that level and are getting to a great spot as far as success goes. And I think the biggest part of that is culture and just how great it is at Penn State.
No doubt. And, a rising tide lifts all boats, and to tie it back in with baseball, I see the same thing going on with baseball. And let's be honest, like the biggest names in college, like the biggest schools in terms of their name and reputation athletically are there because of their football program. Mm-hmm. Cal State Fullerton is one of the top historic baseball programs in the country. Rice. I grew up watching those teams every single year in the College World Series, but they're not a household name.
Coastal feels like a school that's similar like
Coastal
that too.
Carolina, great example. But their prestige is in baseball, which doesn't have as many eyes as football. And you see every other athletic team at those big schools that have the big time football programs at the top of the level as well, because people want to go to those schools where they have that atmosphere and that many eyeballs and they're playing on TV. And Penn State football is doing that for the rest of the athletic department as well. And I think now we have the culture on the baseball team, and the recent success to just compound on top of what we're doing now and continue to get these guys like Paxton Kling and I'm forgetting names, but we've got some really good players that years ago probably wouldn't have gone to Penn State. They are now, and they're getting Penn State's name out there for baseball, for recruits to be a desirable place to go play.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I did want to ask you what's the difference now? Because as I was growing up, I noticed exactly what you were talking about, right? How like those big name schools like the Alabamas, Oregons, North Carolinas, like all of those schools are desirable places to go play college sports, and they've been successful in baseball, football, basketball. But then you look at Penn State, who has been, they have everything that you could ask for. They play in a great stadium. You can get a great education. They have great sports in general, great athletics. But up until recently, it feels like the baseball team hasn't caught up with the rest of like Penn State athletics as a whole. But now we're finally seeing that success. I never understood why people in PA and in general wouldn't want to go play baseball at Penn State. Like, is it the weather? What is it?
Yeah, well, for me coming out of high school, if people have listened to the other episodes, I went to Ole Miss out of high school, and I went there because I wanted better weather, to be honest.
Fair.
And I grew up in Altoona, so the same weather Penn State baseball is playing in, I played in high school. And I just saw that as a big negative to playing up north. I did not know before I kind of reopened my recruiting and I transferred from Ole Miss. I didn't know the resources and facilities that Penn State baseball had to kind of circumvent the weather, the obvious weather issues they have early spring and beginning of the spring semester.
I mean, I totally get the appeal of going to play down south. It's warmer, but I think that, and the SEC, obviously you're playing great baseball, and the surrounding areas you're playing great baseballs too, but great baseball as well. But I think the Big Ten has been playing some pretty great baseball here as well.
100%. The Big Ten has improved significantly even since I played. Obviously, with the Pac-12 teams coming over, that helps a lot for just the overall competitiveness. But to your point, with these top tier teams, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, there are professional scout eyeballs on the Big Ten, and there always have been, but I think there's more TV time. I think there's more social media presence. All of that comes with just a higher level of play, and it keeps getting better. So I think people are looking at Penn State and other programs in the Big Ten now saying, yeah, it'd be cool to go down and play Florida State or Clemson, wherever. But my goal is to play professional baseball. I can do that at Penn State. I have all the resources I need. The coaches are great. They're playing at a high level. And ultimately that's what you need to compete at a high level is you need pro level players, pro level recruits, and you have to develop those guys into that level of player. And you can do that at Penn State, and people are starting to recognize that. So, again, on another podcast, we talked about just recruiting, and with more eyeballs, more exposure, more kids wanting to come play at Penn State, that widens the pool that you get to choose from. So now instead of like, as soon as, maybe 10 years ago, you see a really talented player and you go get them. May not have been a fit for the culture, may not have been a personality fit. When you have a bigger pool, there's more talented players you can choose from, and then you can start to get really specific on this guy's a great fit for our culture. This guy's not going to cut it in the classroom, and you can really start to build a culture because you have choice. You can pick the right guys.
Yeah, and it seems like there's the most resources right now as ever. I mean, with social media and all of these things, there's no reason why people shouldn't know what Penn State baseball is about, Penn State athletics is about. Recruits should be seeing facilities. Recruits should be seeing all of this stuff, all the great things that Penn State has to offer. I mean, it's an attractive place to go as a student, as an athlete, as a student athlete. I mean, at this point, Pat Kraft, like you mentioned earlier, has been doing a phenomenal job across the board with all athletics. And I think, like I said earlier, we are in the best time for Penn State sports.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's pretty fun. I wish I was still there. I'd go back in a heartbeat. But I live here. I live in Atlanta, Georgia now, so I'm surrounded by Georgia fans. Which is not great. I tell everybody, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Growing up with my dad being partially connected to Georgia in some way, I had some Georgia hats. Like Penn State was always number one, far and away, but I had a couple red and black shirts and whatnot. And then I moved down here, and all my buddies are Georgia fans, and I don't like them anymore. I'm full go on the Penn State bandwagon. So it's nice that the team and the programs in general are backing me up here.
Have you had the opportunity to go to to any Georgia or any? Are you a Braves fan now? Like, what's?
No. I am very proud of where I come from. So my teams are all back home in Pennsylvania. So being a baseball guy, I'm kind of just a baseball fan. I'll watch any game. I just love the game of baseball. But the Pirates are my team.
Okay.
Steelers are my team. And so obviously you can see it's a Western PA bias for us, most of us Altoona kids. But no, I haven't been to a Georgia game yet. I may go to one this year. I've talked about it with a few buddies, but I know I'm going to be disappointed because it's not going to be like Beaver Stadium.
Yeah. It's honestly really tough to compare anything to Penn State. There's a few spots out there, but I don't really think anything compares to a Penn State whiteout at the end of the day. But still being able to be down there and watch football at a high level, and that's what the Georgia Bulldogs are about, it's still got to be a pretty cool experience.
Well, I'll tell you this. One of my good buddies here, we went back, my wife and I, and we brought my buddy, his wife, and his two kids. We went back for the Ohio State game last year. And we're going into the stadium, and it's just a sea of people. And he looks at me and goes, dude, this is like an SEC game. I'm like, no, this is a Big Ten Penn State football game. You've just been missing out your entire life.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't get nearly the credit that it does from the SEC fan base. And I get it, right? Like, people are super protective of the SEC and of their Alabamas and of their Tennessees and whatever, but Beaver Stadium's, they're packing 110,000 people in there every Saturday, and there's not too many other places in college and especially pro sports that are doing that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Kirk Herbstreit is a huge pro Penn State crowd guy. I think he's a pro Penn State guy deep down, even though he's Ohio State alum.
Yeah,
he's
I think he is too.
State.
I think so.
And he's out there saying it's the best atmosphere in college sports, but the SEC people don't really give that any validity. They just kind of brush it off unless they go experience it. So, I
will say I have been to an Alabama game. It was great, but it was 110 degrees, and I was sitting at the top of the stadium. I could do without that.
Yeah. And obviously I went to Ole Miss, so I've been to the Grove and Ole Miss football games. And the Grove is a special place, I'll tell you. It is pretty amazing. But the game is, at least, when I was there, which was 2012, 2013, the team was not great. It was good. I remember when I went on my official visit, the kid that was hosting me was like, hey, the game's going to be crazy. There's going to be like 60,000 people. And I looked at him like, 60,000? That's it?
That's a spring game for Penn State.
Right. Exactly.
I need your Big Ten baseball tournament prediction. I need you to give me what you think's going to happen.
Okay. I think that people can write this off because I'm obviously biased, but I would tell you the truth. I think we are beating Washington. They're a very, very beatable team. And I think we're coming out and we're going to beat USC and win the pool. And that's where my prediction ends because I don't know who we're going to be playing yet.
True.
But we saw it last year. We made a run, made it to the finals in the Big Ten tournament, one more win, and we were in the NCAA tournament. That's what's riding on the line for this team. I think what we've shown all year is that when we catch fire, we're practically unstoppable. I mean, an offense with as much firepower as we have is really hard to keep down. And pitching has been kind of our weak spot throughout the year, at least certain times throughout the year. And there's no better time for these guys to step up. So we have the guys to do it. And I have a ton of trust that Bino is going to get these guys fired up and ready to go win this thing. So I think we're going to make a run.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty good to me. I mean, it does seem like coming into it, they just came off of a big series against Xavier, winning 2 out of 3. I think you always want to go in to any type of tournament winning a couple games under your belt. But I noticed this too. The same thing kind of happens in college basketball, where all you got to do is get in. And at that point, if you're playing well, you can catch fire, and really anything can happen. And especially with a team with the firepower like this Penn State offense, like you said, if you can have the pitching just keep you in it and you're putting up 7-8 runs a game, I think you stand a pretty good chance, right?
Yeah, 100%. And there's definitely a difference. There are teams that have the talent and the capability to do it and just hasn't all clicked at one time throughout the year. And then there are other teams that get really hot. They don't necessarily have the talent and it's just a flip of the coin at that point. We have the pieces to do it. It's just a matter of is everything going to be firing at the same time? And I feel that happening. We have the capability to do it. So let's go do it.
Yeah, I would say the one of the other things too is, do you have enough arms? I mean, I feel like when you get to tournaments, and tell me if I'm wrong, but when I was growing up, it always felt like you would get to a Sunday championship game and you'd be like, well, we don't have any pitching left. We have to put up 15 runs in order to win. So if you have enough quality arms and enough guys that you feel good enough when you get to Sunday, I feel like you got to feel really good about your chances.
Yeah, and this goes for any team. You could be the number 1 team in the country or just squeak into your conference tournament. You have to have some starters go deep early. Yeah. To save your bullpen, so you have guys later in the tournament. That's a must. Or less ideal situation, your starter on the first game gives up 5 in the first, we yank them, and then the bullpen comes in and shuts them down, and then you have that starter again 2 days later. But let's not go that route. I'd rather just Ryan DeSanto against Washington, assuming he's starting against Washington. He might start. What's that? That's going to be Wednesday.
Yeah,
they might
21st.
Keep him closer to his normal schedule and throw him against USC on Thursday, since he's been throwing Fridays. So we'll see. I don't know exactly who's going to toe the rubber in that first inning against Washington, but we have the guys to do it. And our bullpen guys are really good. Some walks have killed us, and just some uncompetitive at bats. So here's the weird thing about baseball. You could have, obviously everybody focuses on velo. You could have a guy throwing 75 go out there. If he's hitting his spots, he's getting outs.
Yep.
And I'm confident in saying that because all through college you have coach pitch, BP, like in 5-year-olds do, coach pitch, scrimmages, and it's hard to score runs like that sometimes. You're just hitting the ball of guys. Anybody can go out there and make pitches and get outs, but that's the key. You have to make pitches. Every pitch has to count. You can't be giving away free at-bats, 4-pitch walks, 2-out walks. You got to have shutdown innings after you score, too. So that's the name of the game. Super simple. We can do it. We have the guys to do it. And I'm confident we will, because I think our coaching staff's going to have these guys prepared.
That's all you can ask for. Come in as prepared as you possibly can. Put your best foot forward. Go out there and win a couple ball games. See what happens.
And we have a leader in Paxton Kling on this team that just played in the National Championship Series in Omaha last year. So
that helps.
He's played a bunch of games in these dugouts that they're going to be playing in. And hopefully he steps up and kind of leads these guys in confidence and a little bit of swag to go out there and beat some of these West Coast teams.
I wanted to say one other thing. I saw on Twitter the other week the cream jerseys that they were wearing.
Oh,
so sick.
They are. I'm not gonna lie. There's a little jealousy in me because we did not have those, and I wish we did. They are awesome. The old school logo on the chest.
I think I mean, don't get me wrong, I love like just the traditional look that Penn State football has, but anytime you can mix in like a throwback like that across any sport, and I think they did a phenomenal job with those for the baseball team. It's so cool.
Yeah, shout out to Steve Weaver, our equipment guy. The pinstripes they have now, they've had them for a few years. Also, we did not have those when I was there, which I'm salty about. But we checked the box of looking good.
Yeah, that's hey, you look good, you look good, feel good, play good. But it seems like the years after we leave, they get all the best stuff, right? Like you wish you had those jerseys. I wish that they had Buffalo Wild Wings when I was there. So
they have B-dubs now?
Yeah.
You're kidding. Where's that?
I want to say it's right behind like the outside portion of where Lions Den is, like right across that little street.
Right downtown. There's a B-dubs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I didn't know that. And I am also jealous about that.
Yeah.
I would have cleaned that place out.
Yeah, it was. When I saw it, I was not thrilled. And then they had Raising Cane's right after I graduated. It's a shame.
Man, these kids don't know how good they have it.
I
know. Good stuff, man. Well, hey, it was awesome talking to you. Thanks for coming on. And we'll have to have you on again. I'd like to talk more about football sometime, so maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me. Keep an eye out. Penn State baseball plays 3 o'clock on Wednesday and Thursday?
Yep. 3 Eastern time on Wednesday and 3 Eastern time on Thursday. So Washington first and then USC. I think 2 great matchups. They're both going to be fun games to watch.
Big Ten Network, or where can I watch that?
Looks like Big Ten Network.
All right, I'm on it.
Cool, man.
Follow it as best as I can.
Here we go. We are.